The 2-year-old fillies race earlier with Lynn's Love. There's just now way out on her own at the finish, and she's a grey filly by Semi Palatinsk, an American sire out of Tortina, trained by Jim Atkins on the Downs, on the Darling Downs in Queensland, and raced by Mr. R.G. Archer, I. Oxenford, G. Delit and P. Skelton. Gee, it was a searching run. I can remember calling her not just last, but 3 lengths last at the 800 metres mark. So Bruce Compton obviously knew what sort of a mare he had underneath him. Not that he's ever ridden her before, but apparently Jim Atkins told him to ride her as cold as a mackerel, and he did just that. And this filly unleashed an amazing burst from the 250 and was storming away on the line to beat Cologne. Cologne ridden by Darren Beatman, and the official third, number 8, Regal Realm, ridden by Jay Marshall. Let's hear now from Ken Callender with his thoughts on the Foster's Doncaster.
Doncaster handicap is race 6 here at Randwick today, and by golly, it's a tough race. What I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a line under number 12, Knight of Avon, and I'm only going to consider the horses below him. I think the field's so even that the top weights just face an impossible task, and I'm going to lay all the highly weighted horses. The horse I like best is TAB number 18, Heat of the Moment. She's a gutsy little filly trained by Neville Bigg. She won the George Ryder Stakes, which is a weight for age race, and here she is in the Doncaster with only 51. I think she can win again, and I think a value bet in the race is Caledonian Boy. Forget the top weights. I just think they've all got too much weight in the Doncaster of 1986.
Right, the Doncaster will come your way live on Wide World of Sports at around about 5 to 4, but right now, this break.
Johnny Tapp.
You're not far wrong, Mike. Thank you. Good afternoon, and here we are live for the Donny, as it's popularly known, at Royal Randwick. As Mike said, it's an oldie. It was first run in 1866 when the winner was a horse called Dundee, and the Doncaster handicap is named after the famous English race course of the same name. 3 scratchings from the original acceptance of 22, a big unwieldy field of 19 to run. Quite a number of the top chances are drawn off the track, and there's no doubt the barrier draw is going to play a very important part. In crossing down to you, Ray, I was wondering if you've seen our good sports minister about here at Royal Randwick, John Brown.
As a matter of fact, Tappy, I just spoke to the Right Honourable John Brown a short time ago. He tells me there was a white flash coming across the Sydney Harbour Bridge from our Sydney studios. It was his ministerial car, and he tipped me one too. He said there are plenty of things said in the house in the heat of the moment, and that's his tip, the favourite. Let's have a look at the tote board the way it stands now. Riverdale 12 to 1, King Phoenix 33s, Avon Angel at 12s, Magnitude 25s, Prince Frolic at 20s, and Canterbury Bell at 12 to 1, and those are the 6 that Ken Callender says can't win. Go down to Win the Glen at 60s, Concrete the West Aussie at 25 to 1, Satin Sand at 16 to 1. Knight of Avon has been very well supported in the ring from 33s into 20s, 25 to 1 the tote Knight of Avon. Go down to Dinky Fire, also well back, the Villiers winner. She's 16 to 1 on the tote, in the ring around 12 to 1. Fueler Chief 13 to 2, Caledonian Boy 16 to 1, Chanticleer at 40s. The one the sports minister likes, Heat of the Moment 5 to 2 on the tote, but in the ring at 3 to 1. Common Sense at 40s, March Akita the Kiwi at 12 to 1, Bow Kingdom at 100s, and Swift Cheval number 22 there at 80 to 1. 19 of them there. Tappy, the best of luck for your Doncaster call for 1986.
Righto, Ray, and again conditions overcast at Randwick. We had a little bit of time with sunshine earlier, but that's disappeared again as the cloud rolls back in. But there's little or no breeze. The track is fast, and don't be at all surprised if they get close to the race and course record held by Belmura Lad at 1:33.7. Well, Jim Cassidy has the coveted mount on Heat of the Moment, a great little 3-year-old filly. Let's see what he thinks of her.
Jimmy, she's a very, very good filly.
Oh, she's an outstanding filly. She's got great acceleration and gets home very good race. She's going to need a lot of luck in the running, though, but if she gets that little bit of luck her way, I think she'll come home.
We know she's going to get back from barrier 12. How far back would you like to be?
Well, I sort of only like to be midfield if I can be there. But that's the big thing. You've got to ride them the way they like to be ridden, and you just got to have the bit of luck in the running, Ray.
When will you be starting to stoke her up to come home?
Well, I don't want to be going forward too early in the running because she loves to get home at that quick pace. I'll just be giving her a bit of daylight from about the turn in.
Most of the good judges, including John Tapp, say she's beaten the handicapper. Is that the case?
Oh, fair income she really has, yeah.
Good luck to you.
Thanks, Ray.
And speaking of Heat of the Moment, she's the second last one to move into the starting gates, drawn towards the centre of the Doncaster field, and the last in, the Queenslander, well, he's not in yet, Prince Frolic, In fact, he's now slightly in front of the stalls over towards the extreme outside, is being brought back behind them again, and will soon take his place in the field in the barrier stalls, and they'll be set and ready to run. He's drawn out in no man's land, Prince Frolic, but he's a grand galloper. This time last year, he was a shock late scratching from the Doncaster when he fell on his way back from the track one morning out on Allison Road, took a lot of skin off a stifle and had to be pulled out of the Donny. And then before the Epsom in the spring, he bolted in his track work on the Tuesday morning and didn't race well at all in the Epsom. But apparently they've overcome that problem this time. He's been working very kindly, very generously. And he's a good mount in the race for Neil Williams, who flew down from Brisbane to ride him. Prince Frolic very much on the toe. Now, the inside gate is occupied by a mare called In the Glen, a 7-year-old New Zealand mare by In the Purple. Common Sense is one of the younger brigade in the field. He's facing up well. Heat of the Moment's a 3-year-old. So is Chanticleer. So is Caledonian Boy. So is Hula Chief. March Akita, a 3-year-old filly. 3-year-olds have a good record in this race, particularly the fillies, and 3 that come to mind in recent times include Cetius, Anna Lee and Emancipation. But they're pretty mature at this stage of the season. In fact, they're closer to 4 really than they are to 3. Well, most of them. Now, just waiting for Prince Frolic. King Phoenix is one of the Victorian visitors. He's standing well out in about 15 or 16. And Darren Gouchy's mount is Knight of Avon, drawn alongside King Phoenix. Now, Prince Frolic steadies, the gates fly open and they're off in the Doncaster, and it's a beautiful start. Dinky Flyer dropping straight back to the tail with Knight of Avon, and bouncing out in front Caledonian Boy to lead early over Chanticleer. In a prominent spot is Avon Angel, followed by Satin Sand and Concrete, and March Akita a close handy, followed by Hula Chief, and then Common Sense and Magnitude on settling down, and further back is Prince Frolic getting over from his outside barrier. At the head of the others then, midfield In the Glen, followed by Canterbury Bell, Riverdale, Heat of the Moment further back than Cassidy wanted to be. Swift Cheval at the head of the others, followed by Bow Kingdom, King Phoenix, followed by Knight of Avon, and last of all is Dinky Flyer. Around the first turn in the Doncaster, Avon Angel on the outside went to the lead over Caledonian Boy. Chanticleer third, followed by March Akita on the rail. Satin Sand in a perfect spot, followed by Concrete, and then Hula Chief and Common Sense, and Prince Frolic again trapped 3 deep as they near the 600 mark. A length away, Magnitude close enough if good enough, followed by Riverdale, In the Glen, Canterbury Bell taking off around the outside as they near the home turn, King Phoenix, and then Swift Cheval, Bow Kingdom. Heat of the Moment is in awful trouble. Heat of the Moment got shuffled back to be 3rd or 4th last on the home turn, and then Dinky Flyer and Knight of Avon as they turn over the rise, and Chanticleer. Chanticleer raced to the lead in the Doncaster, Satin Sand, and here comes Hula Chief. Hula Chief down the outside coming with a big run. Hula Chief has raced up to head Chanticleer. Satin Sand is battling on, followed by Knight of Avon, and Heat of the Moment is coming home well with Riverdale. Hula Chief in front close to home. On the outside it's King Phoenix and Heat of the Moment in the centre, but Hula Chief is too good, and Hula Chief won the Doncaster. King Phoenix got second, third's close. The fast finishing Swift Cheval or Heat of the Moment, a big run the filly Heat of the Moment, then Concrete and Riverdale, Prince Frolic, followed by Knight of Avon. Further back in the field, Dinky Flyer, Chanticleer weakened from In the Glen, Bow Kingdom, Satin Sand, Magnitude, March Akita, and then Canterbury Bell. Avon Angel is well back towards the tail with Caledonian Boy, and Common Sense is one of the last to finish in the Doncaster of 86. Hula Chief, a 3-year-old trained by Bart Cummings and ridden by Gavin Duffy, has won the Doncaster handicap. Number 15, Hula Chief on the New South Wales TAB, $3.75 and $1.50, odds of 6.5 to 1. He got a lucky break while some of his more fancied rivals were back in the ruck getting knocked from pillar to post, and I would say that Heat of the Moment would go down as pretty close to a good thing beaten in the race. I'm not sure if she's run 3rd or 4th, but for a little tiny filly in a field of 19, she copped an awful buffeting. Hula Chief pinched the break at the right time, and home he goes with the duff. Gavin Duffy using the whip in vigorous fashion, and look at him try this horse. Look at him stretch his neck and head as he goes to the line. Oh boy, he's a racehorse. King Phoenix from Mornington on the peninsula in Victoria finished hard down the outside to get second. I thought Heat of the Moment was going to run a clear-cut third until the last stride of the race, when one of the rank outsiders in Swift Cheval made a quick late run to be in a photo for third with Heat of the Moment, so I'm not sure about third. Riverdale was there, of course, running his usual gallant race. And over near the rails in the yellow blinkers and the yellow silks is the West Aussie Concrete, who also ran a grand race. Now let's watch this again as they get near home. Hula Chief holding King Phoenix at bay. Heat of the moment on the inside of King Phoenix. Look at Swift Cheval charging through between horses as they go to the line. No, Heat of the moment will get third. Heat of the moment will be third. Deputising for Bart is Anthony Cummings. Let's talk now to him, Ray.
Thank you, John. Yes, stable foreman for the Sydney operation of the Cummings stable. Anthony, a very exciting win for you.
Very exciting. He's a hell of a nice horse, and it's a pleasure to see him win again.
Well, he's a younger brother of Hula Drum, and that horse was unluckily beaten in a couple of major races last year. His younger brother certainly made up for it.
Yeah, he has today.
What are the immediate plans now for this horse?
Well, he's got the all-age stakes next week, and you probably have a well-earned rest sometime after that.
How did Gavin Duffy come to get the ride?
We did ask Mick Dittman to take the ride, but he was tied up with Tommy Smith. We thought Gavin would suit the horse, and he's done an admirable job today.
Well, were you worried about the 1600 going into the race, its first attempt?
No, I wasn't.
Congratulations to you, mate. I'll let you celebrate with Dad.
Thanks, Ray.
Anthony Cummings, a stable foreman for Bart Cummings, and a very happy stable as Gerald Jaffe leads the owner of Hula Chief, leads that 3-year-old back into the enclosure, John, and gets a resounding ovation.
Yeah, fancy having two horses, full blood relations with the ability of those two, Hula Chief and Hula Drum, and it was just a pity that Hula Drum bled in Australia and was sent overseas to race. The winner here, number 15, Hula Chief by Marceau out of Hula Bend, an American mare. A bay colt raced by Mr. and Mrs. Gerald Jaffe, trained by Bart Cummings. Today was having only his 10th start, so he was by no means a seasoned runner in the field, but he did a grand job to win. His record now goes 7 wins, 1 second, 1 third, and about $300,000 in round figures, his prize money tally. Second, King Phoenix, a big effort under 56.5, and he came from second last in the middle stages. And for third, oh, well, you saw it. She was a sensational run to get third, Heat of the moment. Right, Ken Callender with his thoughts on race 7.
Marooned is going to be a short price favourite in the Chairman's Handicap. And even though I'm standing up there putting a price up, I'm not going to be silly enough to lay Marooned for much. I think he'll win easily. He's the ruling favourite for the Sydney Cup at the moment. All he can do is stay. He's won last start at Rosehill like a very, very good horse. Today he's up to 2,600 metres. That'll suit him down to the ground. And I think Marooned will start giggling when he sees these wide stretches of Randwick. This is the sort of racecourse he's been waiting for. If you want to back Marooned, don't come looking for me, because I'm not going to let you on.
Righto, Ken. Good luck. 2 races to go yet. Anything can happen, Mike, to poor old KC.
Everything except the carpet this afternoon. Let's hope his luck does change. Stay with us. Coming up in a moment, super boxing action from the WBC Lightweight Championship of the World. The Easter Carnival out there at Royal Randwick. And coming up, our live coverage of the Chairman's Handicap, where New Zealand Jimmy Cassidy, Sydney's leading jock, throws his leg over yet another hot pot, Johnny Tapp.
Yeah, Michael, Cassidy's had an unbelievable trot in major races in the last 4 or 5 weeks. He's won just about everything. The Rawson Stakes, the Mannion Cup, the Orlando Classic, the George Ryder, the Penfolds Classic. You can go on and on and on. He had no luck in the Doncaster today. His mount Heat of the moment was knocked from pillar to post, and there's no doubt in my mind she should have won. However, on Marooned in the Chairman's Handicap, Ray, I would think he'll have no troubles at all.
Well, John, I know you're not Robinson Crusoe. I think Maroon's virtually got a mortgage on this. Zamazan at 30. Amlock at 14 to 1, Astralin at 50s, Dwanet's Girl, who won the race last year, 15 to 2, Puckle Harbour at 30, Silver Award 13 to 2, 6 to 4 on the favourite Maroon, Scruples 80s, Great Estate 100, Sprightly Native 25 to 1, Tristram Rose 40s, down to Reckless Tradition 11 to 1, and Orchestration at 100 to 1. Well, Tappy, 32,000 people here on Doncaster Day, and I think there wouldn't be too many of them would have backed against Marooned in this. It'll certainly justify its favouritism in the Sydney Cup with a slashing win in the Chairman's Handicap.
Marooned is by the former great English racehorse and sire Mill Reef, who died at the stud a few years back. Great winner of the English Derby of 1971, and his progeny in Europe and England have done remarkably well. Now, Bruce Compton has been a busy jockey at Randwick today. He's ridden a double so far, scoring earlier on Farris King and Just Now. And in the race coming up, he's on the good little New Zealand mare Dwanet's Girl. Let's see what he had to say.
Well, Bruce, it wasn't a bad run last week at Weight for Age.
No, she's not a weight for age mare, and it was a very good run to run sixth.
She won this race last year. From memory, she came down the outside. Astralin looked like it'd win it halfway down the straight, but she swept past those, and not much of her, but she certainly got plenty of heart.
Yes, she certainly got that, and she's a game little filly, and last year's effort was very good, and I didn't know her at the time, but she's apparently she's done very well since she's been here, and I'm looking forward to riding her again.
Bruce Compton has earned the nickname Come From Behind Compton at Randwick today on those two winners he rode earlier. Farris King came from second or third last in the middle stages with a wet sail, and then just now in the Princess Handicap came from a tailed off last in the middle stages and put in a blinding burst over the last 200 metres to win going away. So Bruce is a jockey with plenty of patience, and no doubt he'll be riding Douanette's Girl in a similar fashion in the race coming up. The Chairman's Handicap, introduced as recently as 1979. It's run over the unusual distance of 2,600 metres. Not many races are run at Randwick over this trip in the calendar year. One of them is the AJC Metropolitan. Now, the inside stall is occupied by Puckle Harbour, who ran second at Rose Hill last week. Now, the line looks better. The stall's open, and they're off, and Marooned is a clear last out of the starting gate. He went straight back towards the tail of the field, and Great Estate bounced out in front of Puckle Harbour, and Orchestration began well, and then Tristram Rose. Marooned improved quickly to be midfield on the outside of the Grey Silver Award, followed by Amlock and then Scruples. Three deep, but getting in a bit closer now. Reckless Tradition on the outside of Samasan, followed by Sprightly Native and Douanette's Girl, and Astralina dropped out to be last as they greet the judge the first time with a lap of the track to go. And Great Estate had booted out to lead by 5 lengths. In second place, going out of the straight, Puckle Harbour. Running third, Tristram Rose on the outside of Orchestration. 2 to Silver Award on the inside of Marooned, who's midfield. At the head of the others, Amlock on the outside of the Tasmanian Scruples, followed by Sprightly Native Samasan, and then Reckless Tradition and Douanette's Girl, and Astralina's last as they wend their way down past the 1800 mark. And Great Estate is high balling in the lead. Opened up a break of 6 or 7 lengths now on Puckle Harbour. 3 lengths away, Tristram Rose on the outside of Orchestration. 2.5 to the Grey Silver Award. A half to Marooned on the outside. He's a hot favourite today and a hot favourite for next Saturday's Sydney Cup. A length and a half further back, Scruples on the inside of Amlock, followed by Samasan and Sprightly Native together, and then Reckless Tradition, and back at the tail, Douanette's Girl and Astralin, and they're spread out over plenty of territory. In the back stretch past the 1400 mark, and Great Estate by 4 lengths on Puckle Harbour, slowly getting closer. Tristram Rose third on the outside of Orchestration, followed by Marooned, who's travelling comfortably, and then Silver Award on the inside of Marooned, followed by Amlock, Scruples, Samasan going forward, then Reckless Tradition, Sprightly Native, Douanette's Girl, and still Astralina's last, but the field is starting to bunch up a little as they go to the top turn, 1,000 metres out, and Great Estate has come right back to them, led by a length on Puckle Harbour, a length to Orchestration, a half to Tristram Rose, Silver Award on the inside of Marooned as they go to the crossing at the 800 mark, and moving around the outside of those horses now, Reckless Tradition, followed by Amlock, Samasan, further back Scruples at the head of the others, Douanette's Girl, followed by Sprightly Native and Astralin, and the Chairman's Handicap field is starting to bunch up tightly as they near the turn. 600 out, and Tristram Rose on the outside has moved up to go to the lead together with Puckle Harbour. Marooned and Orchestration track them into the straight on the fence. Great Estate dropping out of it. Reckless Tradition right off the track, but by G. Cassidy looks confident on the favourite Marooned. Marooned on the outside is about to move into overdrive as they come over the rise, and now he's let him go, and Marooned has raced to the lead. Marooned hit the front on top of the rise. Down the outside, however, Amlock is running on strongly, and Puckle Harbour battling on well. Marooned in front, 100 out. Amlock and Silver Award are coming home well. Marooned is clear. He wants to shift his ground in the last bit, but he's too good, Marooned, and he races away to win easily. Marooned first. Amlock now getting up for second. Astralin. Astralin will get second. Third's close. Amlock or Douanette's Girl, and then Silver Award, followed by Puckle Harbour, Reckless Tradition. Further back, Sprightly Native, Scruples, Orchestration, Great Estate, and Tristram Rose is last to finish in the Chairman's Handicap. Just for a fleeting second at the 200 mark, I thought they might make a race of it, where Marooned was about a length and a half in front, but he looked to be flat chat, and Amlock put in a big dash for about 20 or 30 metres there before he started to struggle, but in the last bit it was all Marooned, and he's still green, this horse. He's had only 11 starts and is definitely still learning to race, because he wanted to shift his ground outwards in the last 40 or 50 metres. He seemed to get lost altogether once he got clear of the other horses. Well, he's in the Sydney Cup next Saturday with 49.5 kilos, so how the hell are they going to beat him? He meets most of the horses he met today on better terms as far as the weights are concerned, and he's just coming right at the right time. The imported English galloper, a 5-year-old stallion by Mill Reef out of Short Rations, trained by Brian Mayfield Smith and ridden by Jay Cassidy, the big race specialist. OK, Ken Callender with his thoughts now on race 8.
The last race on the program is probably the toughest race all day. I've changed my mind about 8 times. But the 2 horses I think that will run good races are number 7, Kui Kong, and number 5, Forest Falcon. Now, Kui Kong strung together about 4 in a row before he was beaten last start at Rose Hill. The luck of the race went against him that day. If he'd have won then, he'd have probably been a 6-4 chance today. Having that defeat on his record, he's probably going to be 6 or 7-1. He's got a good alley. He's got Mick Dittman to ride him. He'll be in the firing line all the way. And I don't think Mick will let you down in the last 200 metres. If you're doing a cash, I think you could do a bit worse than have a couple of bucks each way, Kui Kong.
Thanks, Ken. And now we pause. We'll be back for the last live at about 5:15, the Pat Osborne Handicap. Right now, Mike, it's back to you.
Thanks, Johnny. Yes, some of those hot pots getting up and the Easter Bunny calling for punters. All right, stay with us. We'll be back with more in a moment right here on Wide World of Sports. But for so many punters, they represent that last desperate chance to get out. The welter handicap, the lucky last. And out we go to Randwick for your caller, Johnny Tapp.
Good on you, Mike. Yes, a lot of people refer to the last as the desperation stakes, and in many cases they're dead right. Although at Randwick today we've seen so many well-backed commodities greet the judge that I feel certain most punters would have their noses in front. This is called the Pat Osborne Handicap, under welter conditions over 1,400 metres, and clouding up a good deal now at Randwick, and visibility has become reduced in the last 30 minutes or so. The scratchings include Brits Kingdom, who was a late scratching. Market Report is out, and so too is Mighty Justice and Always Early, and the field has been reduced to 14. There'll be backing for several of the runners, including Forest Falcon from the Bart Cummings stable, and that's Les Bridge rather has Forest Falcon. Bart Cummings won the Doncaster today, and during his speech at the presentation ceremony after the race, Cummings pointed out to the crowd that Leilani Lodge hasn't been supplying the winners of late that we've come to expect, but he feels that he's now turned the corner and he's expecting big things for the rest of the racing year. Forest Falcon, Ray, he'd be one of the fancied ones in this, I take it.
Thank you very much, John. Yes, Elroy at 15-2. Forest Falcon, as you say, is reasonably supported. It's around the 15-2 mark too. Rocky Mac's the one that's been backed. 11-2, John, and now into 5-1 and 4-1 in the ring. As I said, Forest Falcon 15-2. Gifted King at 8-1. Kui Kong 11-4. Young Cavalier at 30s. Indentation at 40s. Boscafella, a bit of money for it at longer odds at 10-1. Avon's Glory 100-1. McCluskey 14s. Go down to Picard 13-2. Rusclow at 20s. Freckles Brown 100. Old Butch at 80-1. So the one they've put the money on really, John, is the Melbourne horse Rocky Mac at 5-1, and some money also for Forest Falcon. Me, I hope Rocky Mac gets home.
Rightio, Rocky Mac is trained by Noel Kelly at Ballarat and is ridden by Wayne Treloar. Now, Darren Beedman is riding the top weight Elroy. I don't know that Darren's had a great deal to do with Elroy, although he did ride him at Rose Hill the other day when he ran second behind Wanavi. Let's see what he thought of that run.
Well, Darren, he might be 7 old Elroy, but he still retains his zest for racing.
Yes, he's certainly a game old horse, and he's certainly starting to come back to form quite well. His last 2 runs we're quite pleased with. He ran second at Canterbury, and he was crying out for more distance then. That was 6 furlongs, 1,200 metres, and it was the same thing the other day, and I don't think I could have beat him if I went round him. I just had to sit back there and wait for the run, and he certainly come to the line with an enormous finishing run in the race, and I think 7 furlongs should shoot him right down to the ground today.
He'll need some pace on, of course, and counteracting that in the flying, he carried 50.5 with you being a half over. Today he goes up to 57.5.
Yes, well, he's an old horse and he can carry weight. He's carried it before and won, and I think he might show a bit too much class for these horses today.
Well, there was a ring of confidence from Darren Beedman about Elroy, trained at Newcastle by Charlie Porter, and a horse that's always got people in a little bit. He has this tremendous finishing run. If the races run to suit, he can really charge home at the end of his races. He's done it time and time again, but and he's managed to win about 10 races too. Not so many of them in the city, but he races well on the Newcastle track where he's suited by that big long straight. Anyway, time will tell, because Elroy is one of the fancied runners in this, and he certainly gets his chance. There's about 5 or 6 to go up, including McCluskey, who moves in now. Young Cavalier joins them. Old Butch coming forward with Elroy. Indentation stands out with Gifted King and Picata, and the Victorian Rocky Mac. Wayne Treloar on Rocky Mac. Wayne's been coming to Sydney in recent weeks to ride Tristark in her races. I think he was to have ridden Dazzling Duke today in the Doncaster, but that horse was a scratching. Now, Indentation, Picata, Old Butch, Gifted King and Rocky Mac are the horses we're waiting for to move up and complete the line, and they'll be away. A Fashion Parade was the cynosure of all eyes earlier on today at Randwick, immediately after the running of race 3, and both the ladies and the men were seen out wearing some of the world's trendiest fashions. Judging by the huge crowd that gathered around the dais, it makes one wonder, do you really get a percentage of people who come to the races to watch everything but the horses? I'm sure you do. Compere for the Fashion Parade was the one and only Angela Bell Love, who did her usual expert job. Right, last event live from Randwick, and he hits the button and they're off and running. An Indentation and Elroy went straight back to the tail of the field. Freckles Brown won the start, is joined on the inside by Picata. Gifted King is diving between horses and racing towards the lead, and now going very fast between horses in search of the lead is old Rusklow. Rusklow took over in the run to the first turn, led about a head to Picata, a length and a half to Gifted King on the inside of Freckles Brown, a length away Forest Falcon, followed by Rocky Mac, and 3 deep Young Cavalier. Kiwi Kong is about midfield, followed by Old Butch, and then Avon's Glory, Indentation, Boscafella, McCluskey second last, and Elroy is last, but it's a packing field at the 700 mark. Picata with the inside running, led by about a neck. In second place on the outside is Rusklow, a length and a half away Freckles Brown, 3 deep on the outside of Gifted King, and Forest Falcon on the rails getting a dream run. 2 to Young Cavalier, who's off the track around Rocky Mac, hard ridden. Kiwi Kong has cluttered up near the fence and can't get a crack at him, turning for home, followed by Old Butch. Into the straight now, coming up the rise, and Picata led. He got away a length on Gifted King. Forest Falcon on the fence, immediately under pressure. He can't win. Further out, Freckles Brown, and Kiwi Kong is now coming through in the centre, and it's Kiwi Kong getting into second place, but Picata in front, 100 out. Kiwi Kong is going after him, and here comes McCluskey. McCluskey down the outside is finishing with a big run. Picata still in front. Kiwi Kong and McCluskey trying to get to him. They hit the line. Picata on the inside has lasted to win it a half ahead to Kiwi Kong. McCluskey third, died on his run, looked a certainty 100 outs. Close up Gifted King and Elroy, again rattling home old Elroy, and then Boscafella, followed by Freckles Brown, Young Cavalier, Rocky Mac, Old Butch, Indentation. Forest Falcon folded after having had the run of the race. Rusklow second last, and last of all is Avon's Glory. Picata, I thought, would get run over in the home straight, firstly by Kiwi Kong, second